So UFC 319 just wrapped up, and it was a one-sided beating from Khamzat on Dricus du Plessis. And the scores end up being 50-44, giving Khamzat 110-8 round. Now, I'm going to tell you why. Based on the rules, Khamzat should have got a 10-8 in multiple rounds. Let's talk about it.
Effective striking grappling shall be considered the first priority of round assessments. Effective aggressiveness is a plan B, and should not be considered unless the judge does not see any advantage in the effective striking grappling realm. Cage ring control, plan C, should only be needed when all other criteria are 100% even for both competitors. This will be an extremely rare occurrence.
So UFC 319 just wrapped up this past weekend, and I honestly can say it was my most anticipated fight of the year. You couldn't predict who's going to win. Now, everybody makes a prediction, and they're often wrong in MMA, but this fight, you really didn't know what was going to happen. Was Khamzat going to gas out, by the second or third round, and Drake is going to take over and hit him with a piano? Or was Drake just going to, stop the wrestling and things like that? Or was Khamzat going to just come in there, bully him like he does other people? It was a fight that truly you couldn't really predict. But when the smoke was clear, we clearly saw that Khamzat Chimaev was just a better fighter and just a better grappler than Dricus du Plessis. It was one-way traffic. It really wasn't a competitive fight at all. And that's the reason why I don't want to make this video, because I want to say that although Khamzat won 50-44, giving him 110-8 round, I think he deserved more 10-8 rounds. Now, before to set my argument up here, I want you all to look at what constitutes a 10-9 round and a 10-8 round. And this is the official criteria here. So a 10-9 round is typically looked at as like a back and forth round where one fighter has like at least one technique over that fighter. That could be the grappling was a little bit longer, the striking was a little bit better. It's a very close round, but it's a clear winner. All right, that's the reason for the 10-9 round. So you're going to see this very common because MMA is very competitive at a high level. So you're going to see a 10-9 round very common. But and another thing about the 10-9 round, is that you're going to see this more often than a 10-8 because a 10-8 round would cause a lot of draws, especially if the fight is like very competitive and they got a 10-8 round. It's going to lead to a draw if another fighter wins the previous round. However, and I want to say like 2-3 years ago, the unified rules changed, making it easier to give fighters a 10-8 round. Now, this is my argument here. Now, as you see, what a 10-8 round is, it is when a fighter has like a fairly dominant, sustained portion of the round on another fighter. And this can be just, the striking is like almost not close at all. The grappling leads to just one person being very dominant. But it doesn't have to lead to a super sustained like dominance of that round, meaning that it doesn't mean like the whole 5 minutes of a fight that fighter has to be extremely dominant, right? It could just be in a situation where I clip somebody really bad and they're in survival mode for like 2 minutes, but they're not doing any offense back. They're just surviving. In theory, that should constitute a 10-8 round. Now, if you look at this, it says a 10-8 round is when the judge has established that one fighter has dominated the action of the round, had duration of dominance, and also impacted their opponents were either effective strikes or effective grappling maneuvers that have diminished the ability of their opponent. Now, let's talk about that, diminish the ability of their opponent. In the first round, Khamzat took Dricus down and put him in a crucifix position and beat him up. Now it wasn't like the craziest shots, but Dricus had no offense to fight back. And the crazy thing about this is that the duration was there, the dominance was there, and there was an effective grappling maneuver that led Dricus to not being able to fight back. So, honestly, that was almost 5 minutes of just control time that Khamzat had on him. So the first round, in my opinion, should have went down as a 10-8 round. Now, the second round was more of the same thing. To be honest with you, Khamzat gets the takedown, not as fast, but he gets a takedown and kind of does the same thing, but from back control a little bit more. But he was just kind of peppering him with strikes. But that was a very effective grappling during that time. And Drakus didn't have anything to kind of like back that up. In the third round, it's pretty unanimous that all the judges gave that a 10-8 round. And so I don't have to really explain that one. Khamzat took him down with a very powerful takedown and just kind of beat him up. Kind of same as the first round and second round, but to more severity. The fourth round was pretty much the same thing. A little bit more standing up at the very beginning, but still, Khamzat took him down and just beat him up. Now, the fifth round, obviously, there's no debate there. That round there was like a kind of a back and forth towards the end. Drakus stuffed some takedowns. Khamzat ended up on the bottom. But in my opinion, Khamzat clearly won that round still. Giving him the 50, right? Like, Khamzat deserved the 50 that he got. I think he won every single round. But Drakus, in my opinion, did not deserve the 9s in 4 of those 5 rounds. He deserved the 9 in the 5th, but not the 1st, not the 2nd, definitely not the 3rd, and not the 4th. I honestly think that fight could have been the gamut of being 50-41, which would have been the most dominant fight almost of all time, similar to like Usman and Woodley. Or he should have got a 50-42 at the very minimum. I'm telling you, if you go by the criteria, I honestly think Khamzat Chimaev should have won by a larger margin using that criteria. I'm going to break down more fights here, but I just want you to get your all opinion. Leave it in the comments below. What do you guys think? Was the fight a 50-44? Was it a 50-45 perhaps?